Welcome. Today we're going to do a journal with me using the 4 agreements. The way that I do this is just before we got online, I flipped open to a page and kind of did a review of it and then came up with some ways to approach it and journal about it. So I'm going to read that chapter, go over the information, and then we're going to journal for 10 minutes. I will save time at the end for questions. If you have any questions, if you're catching this after the live, just go ahead and put the questions in the comments and I will answer them. So in the 4 Agreements book, we're actually starting at the very beginning about how we get our beliefs, and it is going to be page 5 that we are working from. So I'm going to go ahead and read the little excerpt and then we'll chat about it. So as children, we didn't have the opportunity to choose our beliefs, but we agreed with the information that was passed to us from the dream of the planet via other humans. The only way to store information is by agreement. The outside dream may hook our attention, but if we don't agree, we don't store that information. As soon as we agree, we believe it, and that is called faith. To have faith is to believe unconditionally. That's how we learn as children. Children believe everything adults say. We agree with them, and our faith is so strong that the belief system controls our whole dream of life. We didn't choose these beliefs, and we may have rebelled against them, but we were not strong enough to win the rebellion. So really what this is talking about is when we come into this world, we have our friends, family, parents, siblings, and what they say and what they're teaching us becomes our belief system. We have nothing else to compare it to. And as children, we also need the adults in our lives to support us and mentor us and provide for us. And so it becomes very difficult to have any other beliefs. It becomes our reality. But it might not actually be our reality because everything that we hear from our parents and our siblings is based on their reality and their perceptions and their beliefs. So one of the things that we have to do as we become adults is to determine what our own real beliefs are. And so I'm going to cover a few different ways that you can do this, because when you're first starting, it's really hard to figure out what is my belief and what isn't my belief. And was I taught this and actually believe this, and kind of go from there. So one thing that you can do is ask yourself, what doesn't feel right? And from this, you're really looking at it from a perspective. If somebody says, hey, you're bad at time management, does that feel right to you? Is that something you're like, oh, yes, I know I am? Or you go, I don't know if I really believe that or not. So really kind of just touch base with what is the feeling that comes up when somebody says something about a belief. The other thing that you can do is ask yourself, where do I have more questions when something comes up? So if somebody says something and you're like, I don't know about that, and you immediately go to 5, 10, 15 different questions, that's probably an area that isn't really a belief of yourself. So you want to explore those areas that you have a lot more questions in. Another thing that you can do is pick one specific area instead of kind of looking at all your beliefs and going, oh my gosh, which one's right, which one's not right. Slow down and pick one particular area. Maybe you pick personality traits and you're going to go through and explore all of your personality traits, what people told you, what you believe, how you've changed, because we change. And so one belief might be I'm bad at time management, but we've been working really hard at it and you've learned a bunch of new skills and now you're good at it. So you could pick one particular area to really focus on. The other thing that you can do is look at where you're doing a lot of negative self-talk. This can often be somebody has told you something and it doesn't resonate with you, but you're still being super critical of yourself. So that can be one way to do it. So what we're going to do for our journaling today is I have a couple of different journal prompts that you can use to explore. If one already jumps out at you, go ahead and start with that. But one question you can ask yourself is, What trait am I told I have, but I disagree with? So that's what trait am I told I have, but I disagree with. And I will put these in the description section below, so you don't have to quickly memorize them all. Another question you can ask yourself is, what beliefs was I raised with that don't feel right? So going back to that, there's some sort of disconnect. So if your mind says yes, but then your heart's like, I don't know, explore that. If either one of those don't help you, create a list of all your beliefs that you have, and then start to kind of go through them one at a time and really explore what is true for you. So I am going to turn on some music by Chris Collins. I license his music because I love it for journaling. I will also put the link in the description for that. We'll journal for 10 minutes and then I will answer questions at the end. So go ahead, grab your pen and journal, and let's journal.
Go ahead and finish up the thoughts that you are writing out right now. If anybody has any questions, they can pop them in the chat box, or if you're watching this afterwards, in the comments, and I will answer them. Just some observations from what I found while I was journaling. I actually started with the journal prompt of what beliefs do I have that don't feel right, and listed a couple of things, and then ended up with a new prompt that I did not put out earlier, and that is, what beliefs seem to be blocking me? So sometimes it's not about knowing which belief is actually false. It's about identifying beliefs that are blocking you. Because if you have a belief that is blocking you, it's typically because it's not true for some reason and there's something there. So I ended up using that one as my exploring starting point. So that would be another one that you could use in that. So I had some great insights on some stuff that I've been working on for a while. I hope you did also. Again, if you have questions, go ahead and pop them in the box. Otherwise, I do answer questions in the comment section. So go ahead and feel free to put them there and I will get them answered. I will wait a quick second to see if anybody has any questions. And if not, I'll catch you the next time I am live. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss out on those. I scheduled this one very last minute. Sometimes if I have an opening in my schedule, I go ahead and schedule them and get them on there. If not, and if I do schedule them way in advance, you'll know them too. So go ahead and subscribe. Doesn't look like there's any questions right now. So thank you guys so much for joining me with journaling today. And this will be live and available on my channel as soon as YouTube finish processing it. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day.